to The Lens. We've made it to our second episode. And just in case you forgot, The Lens stands for Louisville's Ebony News Source, brought to you by Simmons College of Kentucky. Listen, you guys, in a historic move announced a week ago, Simmons College and Jefferson County Public Schools launched an initiative, a partnership with the main goal of placing more minority teachers in Louisville classrooms. We're super excited to be a part of this initiative. It was our president, Reverend Dr. Kevin Cosby's vision that unfolded. We're going to tell you more about this initiative and the visionary that he has put into place to head up this mighty operation. All of this and much more when we come back.
What does a revolution look like? Isn't it a difference in how we see things? Recognition that the old ways are not enough, that what has been done in education is not enough. That's why we sounded the call, and the nation's top educators are answering. Together, we're creating a new program aimed at excellence in education. This is a revolution. This is Simmons Nation.
Right now, there are about 150 million whites, and they live in about 83 million homes. In contrast, there are 40 million blacks, and we live in about 15 to 20 million homes, depending on how you count a home. Now, this is the important part. The middle white family without depreciating assets is worth $120,000. The middle black family without depreciating assets, meaning the car and the TV and your clothes, is worth $1,700.
This is a reality now. In this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Coming up, it's the VIP Report with Shirlene Shanklin.
Now I'm going to ask to the podium one of the truly inspired leaders who brought us together, Dr. Marty Polio, Superintendent, Jefferson County Public Schools.
We know, first of all, that we have a teacher shortage. There is teacher shortage across America, and we have to address that. But even more importantly for us is minority teacher recruitment. Right now in JCPS, about 35% of our students are African American students, but only about 15% of our teaching staff are African American teachers.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Dr. Polio said, the research is really clear when you look at the performance of African American students specifically. There's been a couple studies that have come out just in the last couple years that have documented the importance of kids of color having at least one teacher of color, African American teacher, during their time, during their academic career. For many kids in Kentucky, and for some kids in Jefferson County, that's simply not the case. There are not the numbers, the percentages of teachers of color in the profession. We have to do better. I believe this program is the beginning of something that could be really special.
As the board chair, I'm extremely honored this board and the superintendent took the courageous step to move forward and make this opportunity possible and to bring attention to the need for minority teachers in our district.
Welcome back to The Lens. I'm your host, Crystal Goodner. Well, Simmons College made history with the launching of their Transition to Teaching program with Jefferson County Public Schools. We gave you a little bit of a history lesson that Simmons College's original name was the Kentucky Normal Theological Institute. What does normal mean? Teachers. We're taking it back to our roots by producing some wonderful teachers for Jefferson County Public School System.
Beginning this fall, Simmons College will offer a Transition to Teaching course, which will help prepare teaching hopefuls with instruction, mentoring, support, and a guaranteed spot in a teacher residency program being developed by JCPS. This partnership exists to place more minority teachers into JCPS classrooms.
And Brother Marty, thank you for truly believing that no dream is too extreme.
This initiative was birthed when Simmons College President Dr. Kevin W. Cosby approached JCPS Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio, offering him a Simmons solution.
Dr. Cosby approached me back in the wintertime, and we had a meeting, and he had this idea and asked if we could partner and collaborate together in this work. At that time, I did not know the power of HBCUs and the impact that they have on professions all across the spectrum.
Anyone who called Simmons a sleepy Bible college dismissed them as being historically illiterate. Simmons was not a sleepy Bible college. America was a sleepy democracy. All right. Simmons started in 1879 as a teacher's college to create teachers. You've got a school in the district called Mazik. Where did he teach? He taught at Simmons.
Helping to spearhead this initiative is a woman who bears a name that is synonymous with educational excellence here in Louisville.
I'm Sharon Porter Robinson, a native Louisvillian, back recently and put to work immediately.
The reason why this partnership is so significant is, first of all, we have the greatest educator in America. She is the greatest educator in America.
We are getting ready to take a real step forward in addressing a persistent problem of our community, that being the underrepresentation of African Americans and other minorities in the classrooms of the Jefferson County Public Schools. Our children need to see people like them in roles that are affirming and supportive of students as learners and teachers as leaders in the community.
Meet Dr. Sharon Porter Robinson, former president and CEO of the American Association of Colleges for Teacher Education. She is the first African-American woman to serve as this organization's CEO.
I grew up in the west end of Louisville. I attended Shawnee Junior High School the very first year of school desegregation. Stayed there and graduated from Shawnee Senior High School in 1962, would you believe?
Robinson was also the Assistant Secretary of Education with the United States Department of Education under former President Bill Clinton, which also marks another first for a person of color holding such a position.
I remember still to this day walking up to Shawnee, that big old building, holding my father's hand as he took me in on the first day of my 7th grade year there. And I also remember the day I graduated. His name is on my high school diploma. It just kind of represents that foundation that I realize I have that has held me up and has helped me to address really important life challenges and care about important things in life, because that's what my parents did.
Dr. Robinson vividly recalls that despite receiving a segregated education up until her middle school years, the education she did receive was grade A.
I noticed early on I was not behind. In fact, I was far more confident than many of my white classmates. I had no trouble coming from what had been a segregated school environment. In my classrooms and in all those classrooms at Virginia Avenue were some of the smartest people in Louisville who had degrees from prestigious universities because advanced education, higher education here in Kentucky had been denied them. So we need to be clear. Our ancestors, all those folks all the churches in this community and all the schools in this community, they created a solid foundation from which to work to making this community stronger and more inclusive.
Dr. Robinson's exposure to Black excellence wasn't just limited to her early days in her Virginia Avenue classroom. It was literally homegrown.
My vision of Black excellence in education really starts, the core of it is my mother, who was a graduate of Louisville Municipal College. And it's just been interesting to watch her experience as an educator, insisting on working in the school serving African American students, and also watching her journey as an educator as it took her away because she could not find what she wanted here in terms of becoming a reading specialist.
As Simmons goes back to its roots of producing quality Black teachers, Dr. Robinson is spearheading this initiative that will, in essence, provide some of JCPS classrooms with the same type of experience she was able to receive during her time at that Virginia Avenue school. Teachers that looked just like her.
We're now going to work with that larger community on behalf of addressing a persistent problem. The research says it's a problem. Our own experience says it's a problem when our students do not see folks who look like them, who've had similar life experiences, who understand the challenge that it takes to overcome some of the traumas that our students are experiencing on a daily basis and still show up and try to find the discipline necessary to focus and learn. The challenge of having a goal for the future that defies all odds. And you see folks just like you who have defied those odds and become successful.
The Transition to Teaching program will launch this fall at Simmons College. 15 slots are available to current Simmons students or graduates with a bachelor's degree. If you or you know someone that is interested, please visit our website to find out more information at simmonscollegeky.edu.
During the press conference, Dr. Marty Polio, Superintendent for Jefferson County Public Schools System, says he didn't realize the power, the importance of HBCUs, and we are so glad that he now does and that all of JCPS is on board for this initiative. Speaking of HBCUs, when we come back, we're picking up where we left off, part 2 of our HBCU special.
Just when you thought it was over, Simmons College of Kentucky announces the I Love My HBCU hashtag Simmons Nation dance competition, Louisville version. Step 1, shoot your dance team video and make sure the I Love My HBCU hashtag Simmons Nation sign can be seen throughout the video. Step 2, upload your video to YouTube and share on the Simmons Facebook page. Step 3, email your link to the lens at simmonscollegeky.edu. The winner will receive a professional video production package, including a live shoot with the Simmons Marching Falcons. It's the I Love My HBCU hashtag Simmons Nation dance competition. Don't sing it, bring it.
I'm Charlene Shanklin, and we're standing in front of Fish Street Baptist Church, one of the oldest African American churches in the city. Now let's focus in on some of their history. Did you know in 1866, Fifth Street Baptist Church started a movement for a hospital for freed slaves? Or did you know in the 1870s, they revolutionized the concept of social welfare by assigning a deacon to supervise the visitation in each of the city wards, providing boxes of clothing for those in need. They also gave financial support, holding fundraisers to assist the colored orphans and the St. James Home for the elderly. Now let's take a look at this week's The VIP Report. Simone Biles and the USA Gymnastic team will be at the KFC Yum Center on July 19th and 20th. Tickets start at $59. Kentucky native and music mogul Finesse K.Y. White will speak as part of the Republic Bank Foundation Speaker Series. White will be in Louisville at the Kentucky Center on Tuesday, July 30th at 6:30 p.m. On Saturday, August the 10th at the Hilton Garden Inn on Crittenden Drive is Fabulous and Fit After 50. Their special guest, Donna Richardson. It's Jazz in Central Park on Sunday, August the 25th, sponsored by Councilman David James from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The event is free and open to the public. Make sure you bring your lawn chair or a blanket. It's the world's largest rock and roll whiskey festival. Adds hip-hop to their lineup. Ice Cube will perform at the festival on Saturday, September 28th at the Kentucky Expo Center. Go to louderthanlifefestival.com for additional information. That's it for this week's The VIP Report. Be sure to submit your upcoming events and activities. I'm Charlene Shanklin with a look into events for the Lens.
When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Pressed so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Way down in Egypt's land. Way down. Go down. Way down in Egypt's land. Hello, Pharaoh, to let my people go.
Simmons College, in collaboration with the Angela Project, presents 40 Days of Prayer for the Liberation of American Descendants of Slavery. Biblically, the number 40 represents a period of testing, trial, or probation. So we are inviting you to join us in 40 Days of Prayer as we observe this 400th anniversary of enslavement in America.
Beginning July the 12th and concluding August the 20th, Christians and justice-loving people from around the world will pause to commemorate 400 years of slavery, so we might reflect on where we have been and project a new course for race relations in America.
For each of the 40 days, there will be facts surrounding slavery and Black oppression in America, and we are the voice of one prayer declarations. Also, read the actual stories of enslaved people escaping captivity through the Underground Railroad.
We who are the American descendants of slaves realize that we did not come to this country seeking a better life. We were brought against our will to help others have a better life. It's called slavery. The first woman was a woman named Angela, and that began the sad tradition of enslavement in this country. We will pause to remember their pain and project a new future.
On August 20th, at the culmination of the 40 Days of Prayer, the ceremony book will be used in services held across this nation in commemoration of this 400th year of slavery in America. So let's go global with this initiative and show the world the power of prayer. 40 days, 400 years.
Did you know that the word alma mater comes from the Latin meaning nurturing mother? One of our primary objectives at Simmons College of Kentucky is to nurture late bloomers. So it doesn't matter if you struggle through high school just to graduate, or even if you earn your GED. We don't look at a student's past, we look at their potential.
You
touched on what I think is probably one of, if not the most important function of HBCUs. There are certain kids that are coming up in familial cultures, right? As you said, they get it. They're going to be successful no matter what. The important thing about HBCUs, though, is teachers leave their fingerprints on children more than anybody in the world.
The nurturing environment, I think that is absolutely crucial for some people. For most folks coming out of high school, just to have that environment where you could relate to somebody and not have to feel like you're a number amongst many, you know, where a professor can call on you by name, you know, and know who you are, know what your goals are.
It doesn't matter if you're poised for a certain amount of excellence because your background has already kind of set you in that place, or if you're coming from a background where there's a bit more of some obstacles and challenges. I think HBCUs, because of the time that professors take to make sure that you get it right, to make sure that you understand it, to make sure that you're prepared beyond your experience on that campus.
You know, there are folks who you know, in their life have probably not been taken seriously, sometimes seriously put down in dealing in a world that's not fully theirs. And black universities give you a chance to be yourself in your culture, to find, you know, support, to find acceptance, to find understanding.
You know what? You are only as strong as your weakest link, and if you lift up your weakest link, then that makes the entire community strong. So when you're looking at West and South Louisville and you're wondering, like, why aren't these kids doing fill in the blank? If you donate your funds, they would be able to fill in the blank with your help. So I think that HBCUs are a great gateway to the rest of your life.
You're sharpened in a way that brings such potency to the way that you can live your life. So the academic rigor is not at all compromised. The socialization is amplified. The acceptance and understanding understanding of you at your core and your struggles and your culture is just a foregone conclusion. So you don't have to prove any of that. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to wonder what's happening to you as it relates to your skin color and your culture.
They're teaching a commitment to something greater than the individual. That's really the legacy of HBCUs, and I think that's why HBCU graduates are different. One, they go into an environment where they don't have to worry about race. You know it's all about your talent. You know you're going into that classroom, you're going onto that court, you're going onto that field, and if you can play, then you're gonna be all right. But there's also instilling this great sense of self that you find in HBCU graduates. There is no replication of that culture, right? And so when they come out of those schools, that's why they're able to go on to the predominantly white institutions and to graduate school, to law school, to medical school, and never get lost in that grind.
HBCUs are not perfect. They teach about life real quick. Okay, and the late bloomers tend to do well at HBCU because they're more mature. But for those young ones that go in, you get a sense of heritage, pride. Okay, and let's I'm gonna talk about it. Black, strong males walking around these HBCU campuses. That gives the confidence.
They're not charging you some extra student fee or some extra, you know, line item on your tuition bill that you don't have any idea of how you're using or how that's being utilized. So, you know, HBCUs, you know, they attend to whatever the needs of the students are. And so in doing that, in many ways, it curbs the tuition costs.
HBCUs do exactly what other institutions do, but with less resources, and probably better. I would argue better. If you think about how HBCUs actually, for those students who may not have the qualifications to immediately be ready for school and need extra help, HBCUs take that time to actually help you get on track where you need to be, and in most cases exceed the expectations you may have had coming into it.
There were definitely times where I doubted myself. There were times where I felt that, you know, there's so many people out there who are just as good as me. But again, coming back to that nurturing environment, our professors, the professors I had, were not only nurturing, but they were very helpful in establishing networks for me to utilize.
The experience that I had at Spelman was such a nurturing, positive, loving experience. Having a close relationship with my professors, being invited over to the president's house on a frequent basis. And I'm telling you what, there is nothing like it.
Especially for the young black males. I always niche it. I said, everybody don't have to go to HBCU, but buddy, for what it done for me, coming from my educational background, hey, it changed my life. It changed the way I think.
Hands down, the best experience of my life. And what I would tell kids, and what I tell my own children, is that it's a place where you can go where everywhere you look, you can see yourself and be validated and be accepted and have your authenticity affirmed. So it's just beautiful from the folks that are doing the landscaping to the president of the college and everybody in between. Looks like you, rooting for you, encouraging you. It's like an environment like no other.
What a powerful piece boasting about the relevancy and the power of HBCUs. Well, that wraps up this edition of The Lens. I've enjoyed myself with each of you. And if you have a story idea or you just want to give us some information about some things going on in our community that you would like for us to cover, be sure to send us an email at thelens@simmonscollegeky.edu. Hey, coming up next week, we've got an amazing story for you. The Louisville International Airport just did a name change. It's now known as the Muhammad Ali International Airport. But did you know that it was actually a black man that came up with the idea for that name? We're giving him all the credit here on The Lens. Be sure to tune in next week. Till next time, you guys. Bye.